Let's do this! And this is Super Vegito! Show me how tough you are by beating me!
Alright everyone, JB here. We're back with another Dragon Ball Legends video here on the channel today. Now today I have pretty much a tier list for you guys, and going to be doing pretty much the top 10 units, and then we're going to have the 11 through 15 and some honorable mentions toward the end of the video. So make sure you guys are staying tuned to that, because we are getting the reveals and stuff for new units to be revealed next week. So I might as well make the tier list before and then after to see how much this list end up changing, because a few spots might get dropped in my opinion, depending on who's coming, you know, and how good the characters are. But if this video is helpful or you just enjoyed the content, hit the subscribe button and leave a like on the video. It's very much appreciated. And considering joining the Discord, there's gonna be a link down in the description. Always welcome new members on there. We're gonna be if you guys want to, you know, just chat, or if you guys want to be like up to date on videos, I do sometimes drop in there and, you know, ask people about this certain idea of a video. So make sure you guys are tuning in to that. Now we're gonna look at this list. We're gonna start off with the top 3 units. Now this one is pretty close. We're looking at the #1 spot currently right now, and we're looking at like just this current meta and pretty much the last like couple of PvP seasons. I'm personally gonna go with Goku and Frieza. A lot of people, you know, some people might disagree, you know, that's fine. That's your opinion, you're allowed to have that, but this is my opinion. I think Goku and Frieza are definitely #1 for right now. You know, I still see, you know, I see tons of Rosés still in the PvP meta. So they're definitely a really good counter to Rosé, just as good as their counter to Ultra VB. And you know, you got on the Frieza side, Restoring Vanish, green card gives card draw speed, locking up strike cards, which are something that's gonna be pretty useful if you're going against Rosé or Mr. VB here, both of them having blast armor. Now, you know, it's a W unit. You have the Rise and Rush mechanic, which is still one of the most powerful mechanics in the game if you still, you know, use it right. Because most people, if you know how to get around it, then yeah, it's pretty easy to get around the mechanic. But other than that, it's still a W. And plus, if your opponent uses a Rise and Rush, these guys cancels all their buffs, which is another reason why most people go, whenever you're going against somebody, you always want to probably take out Goku and Frieza first, because that's a major impact, you know, taking away all your buffs. That's gonna leave it's gonna make it pretty hard to finish off the match. Now, like I mentioned, they're the #1 unit. They did get a buff post after they were released. Everyone knows this, but they're pretty broken now. You know, they're undoubtedly the #1 unit. Some people might put them at #2 or the #3 spot, but currently right now is what I'm feeling after just playing with them and playing against them. They're definitely deserving of the #1 spot. Now moving on to the #2 spot, I'm pretty sure everyone should already know this. Who it's gonna be? It's gonna be Mr. Ultra VB. Now, just a couple things just to verify, right? Now this guy, you know, unique gauge, it's kind of similar, I would say, to Beast Gohan's. You use a couple cards, you fill it up, and with him, you know, you're getting hard draw speed, you know, damage, cover null, all that stuff, right? So therefore, and his fills up, I feel like it fills up pretty fast. I think if you use about what, 4 or 5 cards, it fills up pretty fast. I don't personally have them since I got shafted, but playing against this guy can definitely be a headache in a lot of matches, because you have his ability where he pretty much, you know, he has that taking away your opponent's vanish, and if you're using that in the right situation, it can be very, very useful, even guarantee yourself a kill. I've seen a couple teams where if you're running this guy with the Green Zenkai Good Boo or Fat Boo. You can literally just start off with Fat Boo, lock your opponent in, and tag into this guy, and pretty much get yourself a free combo going. You know, unless your opponent has a blue card, there's no reason for you not to land a hit. But yeah, like, you know, his abilities, green card. You know, the one thing I hate about this guy is probably his green card, because most people, you can kind of tell, right? They're gonna stand there, or they're gonna just float. They don't want to engage. And you know, he pretty much counters literally almost everything except for like Rise and Rush and blue cards. So this guy has a lot of things going on for him in his kit, and his ultimate, you know, you can get AoE damage with that. So that's also a W. You know, kind of put your opponent on their heels, right? That way, you know, you're not being pressured as much. But that's how I feel about him. You know, I feel like he's still, even with the new characters to come, he's still going to be in the top 3. It's personally what I think. We're going to move on to number 3 spot. And the number 3 spot, kind of a tough one. But I'm thinking Mr. MVP 17. Now, since the last time I did my, you know, my other tier list was about a month ago. And this guy, I had this guy around the 4 through 6 area. I think I had him on the top 5 or top 6. So he was still in the top 10. He still is. But I feel like for me, he's moved down. His value has went up with him being a blue unit, and with him dealing extra damage against Fusion Warriors, mainly because of this guy. You know, we all know this. You know, you're going to see Ultra VB a lot. You know, high ranks, you know, it doesn't matter. You're going to see him a lot regardless. And having someone, especially like 17, you're getting extra damage dealt against him. And then his ultimate art hits like a truck. Once you have your unique gauge pop, you're getting 100% extra damage to ultimate damage. Once you have that unique gauge pop, and that pretty much could kill anybody, you know, especially if it's type advantage, even against type neutral. I wouldn't guarantee if it'll one shot, but it definitely would deal some heavy numbers. But like I said, this guy has great utility. He's also providing some additional like just damage buffs for Universe Rep tag. So if you're running Universe Rep, that's definitely his just #1 go-to team, or androids. So those 2 teams are something that he does benefit very well from. So therefore, with him being a blue unit in this meta, it is definitely helpful, because this guy he can kind of shut down VB if you use him the right way. We're gonna move on to the number 4 spot. You know, I don't want to keep the explanations too long, you know, because the video already is going to be pretty lengthy. Now, number 4 spot for me, I'm gonna have to go with Sword of Hope Trunks. Now, like I said, you know, it's kind of the same situation right now. Trunks' Zenkai isn't just busted, but it's good enough to the point where you can see that he's a blue unit just like 17. So he has more value in like probably like the next few seasons, depending on the characters that we get from this Frieza saga. He has pretty good kit. Green card basically gives you a new hand of cards. He's pretty tanky, especially if you have him at 14 stars. His stats are pretty good. His ultimate card hits very hard, just like 17's. Once this guy's unique gauge is popped, you're gonna hit very, very hard. And the thing is, VB, I feel like if you're looking at Trunks and 17 are the 2 just, you know, best options to counter this guy, along with Goku and Frieza. But Trunks is also a solid option if you don't have these 2 guys, because he hits like a truck with his strike cards, and like I said, his ultimate art hits. You can literally one-shot this guy. Trust me. Unless someone's giving this guy like a lot of health, or he's being Zenkai buffed, you can literally just one-shot him. But yeah, Trunks is definitely better. He also does apply some like additional damage buffs to his allies. He has an endurance. They gave him a buff with his endurance, where they increased the amount of tags. If you have one of the tags, his endurance is basically still there. That way he doesn't die off of 1 life. So you technically have 2 lives with him. Pretty much easier, right? Now, number 5 spot, it's gonna be Cell. This guy is basically supposed to be the replacement for the other Cell right here, which I feel like makes sense because this Cell is so outdated. You know, it was either a Zenkai or a new unit, right? Now, this Cell is, how can I say it? I haven't played them a whole lot. I don't have them. The only thing I can say is that he is definitely better. You know, he's a range type. He's on androids, which, you know, this guy is, you can put him on a team with 17 and the Gammas. That's a really solid team. Really solid androids team. But I really feel like it's like this guy is, I don't know how to say it. He has so much utility in his kit though. He has a lot of damage. Let's not forget that he has an AoE green card, you know, and it pretty much guarantees you a free combo. And then the damage that he does once he dies to your whole team is pretty insane. It hurts like hell. So this guy definitely has a lot of utility, but like I said, not much I can give on him since I haven't personally played against him a lot, or I just haven't really used him that much, right? But he does deserve the top 5 right there. That's what I think right now. Now moving on to the number 6 spot. Kind of tough, really tough option right here. For me personally, I got to give it to Rose. Simply because Rose fits so well with VB, either on God Key or Future. And then you have Rose just doing Rose things. He can get up to 3 ultimate cards. He has green card, you know, killing your opponent's cards, you know, giving yourself new cards. His blue card, like his normal blue card, is pretty powerful as it is. That poison and paralysis is pretty powerful. It can definitely help in a lot of situations. This guy constantly stacks damage with a certain amount of cards that he uses. He also can go type neutral on his main ability. So therefore, purples aren't really a problem for this guy once he pops his main ability. You're free to do as much damage as you will be doing to like another unit that's type neutral, right? So therefore, this guy pairs up pretty good on Future, God Key. You can even put him on a powerful opponent team with maybe Kid Buu here, maybe Hit. You know, Hit has dropped down a little bit as well as anybody on this list, but he still is usable. But it wouldn't be the safest bet if you want to run him on a main team. Like I said, because all the blues just running around currently in this meta. So, you know, I really feel like Rose deserves it. You know, just that 6th spot. He's still in the top 10 for me. He, you know, he definitely has dropped. This guy used to be considered, well, not considered, but he was the #1 unit. He dropped down to the top 3, and then eventually for me, he dropped down to the top 6. So therefore, I'm gonna put him right there, leave him there, because he still has a lot of utility you can use. Obviously, his damage and everything isn't where it is a few months ago when he was still in the boost system, but still a really solid unit. Come on now, it's Rose. Now, moving on to the number 7 spot. This one is pretty tough because of the meta that we're currently in. It's a little bit just, I wouldn't say everywhere, but you know, you got VB running around, you got Goku and Frieza running around. Cell, I do see him in top rankings a lot sometimes, so got that guy running around. Now for me, in the number 7 spot, I'm gonna give it to Kid Buu. This guy, you know, he came in the game, took Rose's #1 spot, and he's dropped. He's definitely dropped because of this guy. You know, this guy running around, just doing his, you know, just doing his thing. Now Kid Buu, never pulled them on his initial banner. Played against him a lot. And when I say that AoE green card is annoying, it is annoying. It's easy to just defend against it, but sometimes, things happen in matches, right? So, his green card pretty much giving him a free combo on you. His he does have endurance, so that's a plus for him. And then he also has his blue card, which I like his blue card because it pretty much kills your opponent's hand. So therefore, say for example you have some pretty good cards and he kills your hand, well, you're back to square zero right there, right? And he has his ultimate arts, hits pretty hard in my opinion. He has blast armor on his strike cards. So this guy was something, where also his unique ability, I believe he had like the healing type of unique ability where like each timer count he was gaining a lot of health. So the amount of health that he's losing, he ended up, regaining that in the matter of probably like 5 timer counts, 10 timer counts. So therefore, this guy was arguably, he was a number 1, number 2 unit, because you can put him on regen, put him on powerful opponent. I would say Majin Buu Saga, but there wasn't a whole bunch of just options from that, right? Just to have him on a certain team just straight off of Majin Buu Saga. But regen, powerful opponent are his 2 main teams in my opinion. Like I said, seen plenty of people run this guy with Rose and hit when he was ran a lot, when VB wasn't in the meta yet. But he definitely deserves that 7th spot, top 10 spot still, in my opinion. Now moving on to the number 8 spot. Pretty tough, but I gotta give this to the Gammas. And I know some people might be just disagreeing with that. But for me, I feel like the Gammas are slept on because they're actually a really good unit. They can still cook. Obviously, VB's in the meta, so obviously, it isn't always that safe to just run them like that. But these guys, you're constantly switching out with them, gaining cards, going type neutral for like a few timer counts. And then also, the green card is giving them health, giving them I believe a blue card the first time that they use it. That could be useful in any situation. If you're comboing, maybe you can get a free kill off of that. And then also they're stacking up damage, I believe, with their blast cards. So they're constantly stacking damage with blast cards, and you're constantly just stacking it, right? I don't think there's a limit. I could be wrong, but they are stacking damage. And then they have the same mechanic similar to the Blue Boys, where it's basically, except the difference is you're able to switch out with these guys, so you're not locked in like when you're switching out. And say for example you're on the Vegeta side, right, and you get the Goku animation where he's he goes to charge up. You're not locked in like these guys. Like these guys, they basically had you locked in. No rise and rush, no switching out to your other battle members. These guys, they have the same similar thing, but I feel like, I don't know, I feel like they're a little bit better. Blue Boys, I feel like they could have been so much more. Every time we get a Super Saiyan 3 unit, it feels like they don't do them justice. They're good for a certain amount of time and then bam, they're out, right? But that's what I think personally on them. Now number 9 spot, pretty tough because a lot of units have dropped down. And if I'm looking at these Legends Limited characters, for me, I gotta say Hit. He's still in top 10. He's dropped down, but he's definitely still top 10. A lot of people might say, oh, well, you got all these blue units running around, you got Trunks, 17, Goku and Frieza, but here's the thing. Even though that might be it, Hit gets additional damage against blue units. So, it's not like he's completely vulnerable to the units themselves. This guy gets additional damage. We all know about his time skip, unique ability, very powerful. This guy has been definitely a top 10 unit the last couple months. since the medals have been changing around a lot. But he definitely deserves to be in that. Like I said, his time skip is powerful. If you use it the right time, basically guaranteeing yourself a free kill, and there's no limit to it. You can use it twice in one match if that's what you want to do, right? Ultimate Arts hits pretty hard in my opinion, but comparing it to like 17 and Trunks, I don't think so, right? But he, like I said, he does get card draw speed, I believe, off his green card, and I think he gets cover change off his green card because I don't have the guy, but I played against him, so he does get cover change in one of those aspects. But he is a pretty good unit, solid unit in my opinion. I think he deserves that top 10 spot. But number 10, number 10 spot, I'm gonna give this to Orange Piccolo. Actually, no. So Orange Piccolo, he's iffy right now, right? Me personally, I'm giving this to Gogeta. Gogeta has dropped a lot on the tier list. To be honest, he could be arguably number 11 spot, but I feel like I'm gonna give him over Orange Piccolo because Orange Piccolo could have been so much more. Gogeta still has, he takes a lot of damage now, not in the boost system, but his counter unique ability still powerful, gives yourself a free blue card hit. He has card draw speed, level 2 card draw speed automatically. Green card gives you cover null, another blue card. Then his main ability is what's powerful as well. Kills your opponent's entire hand. So if you're in the right situation, you can guarantee yourself a kill right there. Then he also kills endurance on when you pop a rush with him. So therefore, say for example, if you're going just like Trunks, 17, Mr. Ultra Kid Buu, like if you pop a rush with him, you're killing his their endurance. And I think VB has the same thing. I don't know if it's just similar to his where he just has it or he just has to have like a certain condition, but I believe he does have that as well. But like I said, Gogeta, pretty much an attack powerhouse. He has a good utility in his kit. Obviously he's dropped down because he's out the boost system. Satos from the movies hasn't really got any buffs like that. So the best team right now probably would be Fusion Warriors for him. Or maybe just Gogeta, right? Run him, Rose, VB. Good solid setup right there. But moving on to the 11th spot. Pretty tough, right? I'm gonna give this to Orange Piccolo. Now Orange Piccolo, I feel like I said, they could have did so much more with him. And it's really crazy because we all had these high expectations. Like he was going to be somewhat similar good, like Beast Gohan, right? And the thing is, right, this guy is technically a tank in the movie. They made him a melee type, but they didn't give him no sort of like more sustained damage cut or maybe some higher defensive stats maybe. It's just he takes so much damage. His like post him being revived, he is definitely twice as better before, because his form before that it isn't much to amount to. It could have been better where they gave him something, right? He does have a counter type of green card. I believe it counters like tap shots, strike arts, so that is pretty powerful. It gives you a free combo with any card that you're using. He does have his unique gauge where I think he has to receive a certain amount of hits, similar to Trunks, and it basically kills, I think, some key or cards, heals them up, give them more damage, all the good stuff, right? And I don't know. There's not much to really talk about Orange Piccolo because he was not him on release. So therefore, he's still in the top 20, top 15. I feel like if they give him maybe something like a better plat to help him out, because you don't see him a lot. You don't. But moving on to the number 12 spot, probably gonna give this I'm gonna say Beast Gohan. You know, this guy, like I said, it's what I think. This guy isn't in the boost system, but he can still cook. Trust, this guy can still cook. He has card draw speed on his green card when he has a unique gauge activated. If you start off with this guy, your unique gauge is already activated, so you already have all that damage and that card draw speed and everything. He has a lot of utility. You know, blue card, it doesn't matter if it's type disadvantage. If your unique gauge is popped, that blue card goes straight as type neutral damage. So therefore, hits pretty hard. Green card, like I said, is pretty powerful because if your unique gauge is filled, it kills all your opponent's cards. So the main aspect of this guy is, you know, you want to have that unique gauge popped because you get a lot of more benefits from that, right? And you also have, he has endurance as well. So therefore, that's a plus. Ultimate Arts hits pretty hard as well once an ally dies, like Pan or Piccolo, I think that's in this kit. But this guy, when he first came out, this guy had an insane amount of damage in his kit. He had card draw speed. He had all these things that people were looking at, and it was just insane, right? Like, you never thought a Legend Limited unit would get all these benefits, right? You think more of an Ultra unit to get all that, but no, this guy was insane on release. I really feel like he's still in the top 15. He's definitely dropped down a lot over the past couple months. But yeah, that's what I think on him. We're gonna move on to the number 13 spot. And I'm personally gonna say probably this UI Goku. I feel like his Zenkai is slept on. He's still a usable unit. You know, green card is an AoE green card. Gives you I think cover, yeah, it gives you cover null for special cover changes. He also has, you know, his unique ability, which is pretty much him dodging. So you can use that to your advantage to save your advantage engage. And he has pretty good damage in his kit. You know, with his Zenkai, his stats definitely got buffed. That's just like any other Zenkai that gets it. And the thing is, I really feel like people sleep on him. You know, he's a really good Zenkai. I don't know, between him and Trunks, right? I don't know who's the better Zenkai, but they're both really, really balanced. And I feel like they've done them justice. Like, compare it to probably like the VB Zenkai, right? They didn't do this guy no justice. They didn't give him no additional damage, no card draw speed. They just made him a stat buffer, which is kind of disappointing. But that's what I think right there. Then we're going to move on to the number 14 and 15 spot. In the 14 and 15 spot, personally, I'm going to put this UI over these two right here. You know, this UI, you can still use them. You know, you got Goku and Frieza in the meta, you got this Cell in the meta. You know, you still see a hint of Gogeta in the meta as well. You don't see a lot, but you do still see him. So this guy has been pushed down, and I really feel like in terms of just like utility, he's probably better than Piccolo. But I feel like Piccolo is just, you gotta have him on certain teams for him to even just cook, right? You gotta put him on the right team for him to cook. You can't just put him on any just random team and then expect him to just go crazy, right? But this guy is still a solid option. Say for example, if you don't have this guy and you want to run like a Universe Rep team, Universe Rep is definitely the top 3 teams in the game right now. With Goku and Frieza, MVP 17, this guy, and a few other characters that they also brought along, right? Now, besides that, you know, I don't know too much about him. I know he does get cover change null once he revives. His blue card hits pretty hard in my opinion, and he's pretty solid. He gets card draw speed in his kit. You know, nothing too much to talk about him since I haven't seen this guy that much really in, I would say, probably the past 2 seasons. You know, not as much as I would hope to see him. But looking at the number 15 spot, I'm gonna put the Blue Boys. You know, like I said, they should have been something so much better. And the reason for that, you know, the Goku side is really the side that's really carrying, because you can get card draw speed, you're stacking card draw speed. You have cover null for I think 10 timer counts, 15 timer counts, and you're constantly just stacking card draw speed, you know. And while you're looking at the Vegeta side, they basically made this guy basically just his side just to take hits and make him be a tank, right? Obviously the thing where he uses every card and he restores some health is pretty useful, but his green card, they should have gave him card draw speed, right? Or same thing to Goku, they could have did the same thing for Vegeta, where he gets card draw speed for like, I don't know, like 10 timer counts. Cover null, he can probably get that on his green card. They should gave him something, right? Because I really feel like they could have made them more balanced, kind of like the Tad 4s. They're pretty balanced. You know, this guy's just on his side just to take hits. In his kit, he gets even more reduced damage received. So yeah, they could have definitely done something a little bit better for him, in my opinion. He's the side that you don't want to be on too much. You want to get back to the Goku side, right? But just to end off the video, like I said, we're gonna have a few honorable mentions. Now you see, obviously, there's gonna be these 4 characters right here. The LF Rose. We have the newest Zenkai Kaioken. He's a really solid unit. This Gohan, and then this Cell. This Gohan is definitely a defensive menace. You know, he's definitely pretty good. This Cell is still good, you know, but there's a lot of blue units running around, so it's pretty hard for him to just compete, right? With all these blue characters running around. This Goku, a lot of people are saying he could possibly be a counter to Goku and Frieza. Gets reduced damage against purples and extra damage to purples. And he also has that something similar to the Ultra Kaioken, where once he vanishes, he restores like 70%. Just, you know, a little bit different than Kaiokens, but it's kind of similar. And then Rose, put him here because he's a solid option. You know, if you don't have this Rose, he's a solid option. He can tank really well. Defensive stats are pretty high. AoE green card. No. AoE blue card. Green card is a blast counter type, and you know, pretty solid. You know, he's definitely in the top 20 in my opinion. Gonna run him on future. But yeah, that's it for the tier list. That's what I think personally for everything. Let me know what you guys think. How would you put your tier list? Who would you put, you know, in certain categories? Because that's what I think is currently where everybody sits right now. You know, some could be moved around. Say for example, like Kid Buu, you could move him around if you want to, but since he is a yellow, it's pretty difficult for him to compete against VB. So you know, there's a few options you can move around and everything. Everyone is pretty changeable except for probably 1 through 6. I think those are solid options where everybody stands. But let me know what you guys think. You know, comment down below where you would put certain people. But as always, everyone have a blessed day. It's your boy JB. I'm out.